can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Boy, all that like Keenan. Still got crack, they fiendin'. Flow still hot like Phoenix. Shine so bright, I'm gleaming. This off top, I'm tweaking. Fresh out the rat like Neiman. And I'm still tryna fight my demons. Cause we all gotta act like Tina. That's why I gotta ride with the Nina. Outside, it's a war going on. Maybe put my hands on my head like the Macarena. They want you walking on board like Kima. And give an F to you like John Cena. Putting blood on the brand new Beamer. Tryna earn they stripes like Adidas. You get cold when you ride with the heater. It'll turn you to a dog like a Keto. And expose to a cat like a cheetah. They smoke my partner like reefer. Dímelo porque o no entiendo. Mi gente must really need Jesus. They shed real blood. I never seen the crypt and I believe it. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Y'all just talk, don't live it. And just took that route, that seen it.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Week 2. If you're in the chat, say good morning. Kevin, good morning. Jen Joseph, good morning. Stephanie, good morning. Austin, Scott, great week last week, Scott. Yeah, it was a good week for me last week. I think it was a pretty good week for kind of the stuff we talked about on the stream. Every touchdown play I said on the stream, except for Taysom Hill, scored last week. Talked a lot about Mike Evans last week, and I had a really good afternoon slate lineup with Baker and Mike Evans and Godwin. That worked out really well. It actually was I was top 10 for a while in some of those afternoon tournaments. That was good. Melissa, good morning. Free Fries, good morning. CJ, good morning. Matt is going to join in here as well at some point. So once he gets in here, I'll add him in. Higher level thoughts on the slate. I really didn't like this slate a lot until about 30 minutes ago when someone that's in my group chat texted me their lineup. Sam, if you guys remember, who used to work here as well. He just sent me his lineup, and it was the same exact lineup that I had made for my main, not my cash team, but my main tournament team. So I don't know. Sometimes when that happens, when it's been me or Matt that are on the same team, we've had really big weeks. So I went from really not liking this slate to liking it much more 30 minutes ago. So with that being said, I have high expectations for today. I think that cash is just really tough today. I don't think it's going to be earlier this week when I made the video. I thought it was pretty set that there was going to just be a massive lineup train. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Only because there's so many guys, the salary is so loose. There's so many guys in that pricing range that you could pick. It's a lot of 1v1s and I think that there's enough guys in that range that I don't think it's going to be one single team that is just a huge train. So I think there's going to be definitely some variance in cash games. It's going to be a lot of 1v1s. I'm trying not to worry about it much. Whenever we get weeks like this, I don't know. I just play the team I feel best about. And, if I lose on a 1v1, then, whatever. I am playing more head-to-heads than actual double ups though today because like I said on the video, when we get weeks like this, I would rather play head-to-heads and force people to play the right team than, get in a double up where, maybe there is a huge train of teams and it kind of works against you. So Jim, good morning. Anthony, good morning. Bucks won me 200 in the Millie Maker. Yeah, I had That's a great team. I wish I would have had it on the main slate. I talked about it so much on the stream last week and then just didn't put it on the main slate for some reason. I think I had Baker, Evans, Godwin. I don't even know if I had a run back. I don't think I did. I had some other. I had J.K. Dobbins and it took him out. I probably would have shipped if I would have kept in here. But yeah, so we had great viewership last week. We had over 300 concurrent viewers, YouTube, Twitter, and all that stuff. So shout out to you guys. If you're on YouTube, drop a like. I think Matt's in here, so let me see if I can add him in here.
Yep.
Matt, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Like I said, I wasn't loving this slate until Sam set that lineup. Now I'm feeling feeling a little bit better about it.
Yeah. It's nice, man. When that happens, it's like a once or twice a year thing. It's nice. It's always nice. I mean, we were on Dak and CD, in the beginning of the week, right? I mean, the first player I mentioned in the group chat was CD. So he may not even be in my main lineup, but I love him today.
Yeah, I feel really, really good about it. I think it's similar to what we talked about last week, where we felt we had an advantage in week one because of like knowing schemes and stuff, like teams that are going to be prepared. I think there's just a good chance that the Saints offense is better than, they were the last few years. Like we can't overstate that this is the first time they've had a new offense since literally 2006.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's insane.
Yeah. Plus, Clint Kubiak did kind of what we were hoping, right? They were dead last year in pre-snap motion and play action stuff, and they were way up there last week. So, yeah, it's a tough defense, in general. I think, they're a playmaking, opportunistic defense, but I think that, are you doing any run backs on your Dak stuff or no? I mean, are you mixing in any Olave or Shaheed?
Yeah, I don't have them on that main team. I do have. Okay. I have a mini stack on the early slate. I actually played the early slate pretty heavy, I talked about in our text. But I have Shaheed on the early slate. I wanted to get Olave, but it just didn't.
No, I think Shaheed's a play man. So Dallas has been a man team for a long time. They're a huge zone team now with their new DC, and we know that Shaheed destroys too high looks. He just takes the top off the defense. So I think Shaheed is the play if you're going to do that.
Yeah, it just fits so much better with the rest of my team. But if you guys have questions, start dropping them. We'll get to them. Overall, though, Matt, how many teams? I'm going to play. I've only built my cash team and 2 others, I think. Okay. So I'm going to play one more team, but how many teams are you playing?
So I went a little crazy last week. I played like 13, 10, 11, 12, 13 teams. I just had so much time. I just kept building. Yeah. Right? I'm playing like 4 this week, right? So I'm just narrowing in and kind of taking some stands. I think it's one of the biggest stands I'm taking. It's super chalk, but I think that I don't know. I mean, do you think a lot of people are going to be playing Mason and Debo together? I was kind of asking that earlier. Probably, or are they going 100 less to Rice there?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think in cash games, like if you're playing double ups or something, I think there will be teams obviously that have both of them. If you're playing in a tournament, I don't know. Like I feel like the talking point of the week is like, oh, you can't, play them together in tournaments because they don't correlate well. So
Debo's my total conviction play though, man. Like Minnesota was top 5 last year in 2 high covered shell looks, and they were first in the league last week in 2 high stuff. And Debo last 2 years is tied with Tyreek Hill for fantasy points per dropback against that coverage. And now you have added, touchdown equity on the ground with no CMC. So I think that, Minnesota also gave up the highest completion percentage last year. Like they're just looking for these dink and dunk looks, which is just Debo. I think that now, especially now with CMC on IR, like they have to really commit to the idea of what their offense is without him. I just think it's just a Debo week, man.
Yeah, and I mean, he got a lot of red zone touches too. I know, Mason had a touchdown called back. I don't know if that was the first half or second half, but I mean, they were going to Debo a lot in the red zone as well, which obviously I think helps. But yeah, I don't hate it. I love him. I have him on my early slate team. I don't think he's not on that team me and Sam have, but I love Debo for sure. Don't hate it. Overall, like outside of, kind of your main team, like what is the stacks that you're looking at? Because obviously I have a DAC team. I have my cash team. I have a DAC team, which if you read my article, you knew that was going to happen. And then it's like after that, like nothing, like every time I built something, I didn't like it. So I think I'm going to make a Richardson team, but I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet.
Yeah, you were right. Like it is crazy how he was pure chalk last week and now like no one's playing him. And he's not like, I mean, of course, every quarterback is defensive, sensitive to matchup, but like his skill set just travels anywhere, man. He chucks it and he runs. Like it almost doesn't matter what scheme people are playing against him. So I don't know. As far as the spots that I'm on, I am on Goff. His splits at home are one thing. His splits against this, Todd Bowles defense is incredible. He was second in the league last year for touchdowns against the blitz. First in the league was Brock Purdy. And they both happen to be facing the two most blitz happy teams in the league. So this is a Goff and Purdy week. I know they're not exciting. They don't do anything on their legs, but this is where you look for those 303s that we've seen out of them plenty of times. I mean, Purdy was unreal last year, averaged 20 plus points a game. And I just found it this week that I'm not that excited about any one quarterback in particular. So I'm mixing in a fair amount of Purdy and Goff. I don't think many people are going to follow suit with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like Christmas still when Brock Purdy was like the MVP favorite, like betting favorite for quite some time last year.
For sure.
So,
yep.
So I guess, I want to get into that game more, the Detroit game. So maybe, I don't know, I got to decide. Instead of Richardson, maybe I would do a team with that.
I think so, man. I really do.
Yeah.
I know the Lions defense was one of the worst pass defenses in the league last year. I think we are, I say we because I'm here obviously in Detroit, but I think that probably we're going to be a fair amount better this year. But like this is a back and forth type of game, man. Like it's the one of the top three. I know number one pass funnel is San Fran. So I do like Jettas this week. I think that overthinking, Justin Jefferson is silly, but Tampa Bay, as you mentioned in your building blocks article on DFSkarma.com, by the way, check it out. It's phenomenal. I think that they're a huge pass funnel, and now they're losing talent left and right. They're all pro safety. Antoine Winfield, so stuff over the top, stuff over the middle is all of a sudden a little bit more suspect now for Tampa. And I don't think the Lions are like great yet, right? If they go from 32nd to 21st, that's a huge win or something like that. So this is a back and forth game, man. I'm on a lot of pieces. I mean, we talked about Gibbs. I think Gibbs in this type of game, it's perfect for him. He's like minus 180 or 185 to score a touchdown.
Yeah, it's like crazy.
But he gets in the box. It's great. I mean, look at his last 10 games, 8 of the last 10 games going back to last year. I think he has touchdowns in, and they do have Vita Vea, but we have their outside the end. Kancey's out this game. I don't know. I love this game. This is probably my favorite game.
Yeah, and Gibbs is like, he's not really like run him into a brick wall up the middle guy anyways, so I'm not really concerned with that. I will say though, also to just kind of work in favor of that game, I feel like there's more concerns. I don't know if I want to say pace wise, but just like, I feel like there's more concerns with the Arizona Rams game and the Chiefs Bengals game as opposed to the Detroit Tampa game. Like, if you just had to put a gun to my head and we're like, which of these is going to go over, 48 points, like Detroit and Tampa would probably be the most likely for me, honestly.
Yeah, I think so for sure. We're waiting on Jameson Williams news. I think.
Yeah, I thought they said he would play last night. Did I miss?
Yeah, they did, and then this morning they said he's expected to play. Right, so I think he's fine. I mean, he came back in the game anyways after that little ankle tweak or whatever. Yeah. So I think it's going to be fine. I don't know why people are saying hamstring. I thought it was ankle.
It was ankle. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a Pro Football Talk just typing in wrong shit here, but he had the second most first look targets last week in the NFL behind Tyreek. Behind Cooper Kupp. So that's new for this line. I mean, but the drumbeat since like literally March or April has been that like, hey, Jameson's on a mission. He's a changed man. He was bugging the coaching staff all offseason about schemes and stuff. Like, he is dialed in. This is a first round draft pick with awesome pedigree. It was a coming out party last week. Of course, I get it that you want to say, hey, this isn't a Amon-Ra bounce back week, and Amon-Ra destroyed the Buccaneers last year. But we could just be in a new world of this offense where they're trying to make something out of their first round awesome draft pick in Jameson Williams. They give him a lot of drag routes across the middle, let him use his speed. Like, this can get nasty real quick, especially with no Antoine Winfield on the back end.
Yeah, I mean, I was extremely high on Jameson Williams coming out of Alabama, and I mean, he just had the worst possible start to a career that you could have, injuries, getting in trouble off the field, the gambling thing, all that stuff. So, I mean, I was hesitant to believe it, but this is not like a random player that's just all of a sudden good. Like, it's easier to believe it once you see it, because this, like you said, is a first round talent. Like, I mean, he looked last week for the first time in his NFL career like he did at Alabama. Like, you could just clearly tell, how good he was. His speed, I mean, he hit like 21 miles per hour on that one pass. So, yeah, I'm fine like coming around to the idea of him. And I think that on a more normal week, he would be higher owned. The pricing is just so loose.
That, people aren't playing him, man. Like,
yeah,
that's a little wild. One of the best games of the week. He's got the massive scoring upside with deep shots, and now he's getting volume. It's like, I think you're right. Normally he'd be way up there, but people just aren't. Everything just converges on what all the websites say, like Rice and Debo and Cup, and then they have no room for someone like JMO. But it's like, dude, I don't know. Are you also on Gibbs too? I'm assuming.
Yeah. So that was gonna be my question to you. So if I make that my third team or fourth team, whatever it is, so would you do Goff, Gibbs, Jameson Williams? Like, is that fine, or would you go the Baker route, but then just play Gibbs and Jameson on the other side?
No. I think there's more fragility with Baker and his offense than there is on Goff at home.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah.
I
feel like if anyone plays that game, they'll play Baker just because he's cheaper.
Correct. I had a tweet. It said, Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson last week caught 7 of 8 targets for 101 yards, right, with long gains of 32 and 22 against this Tampa Bay team. That they don't have Levante David anymore. I know, excuse me, they do have Levante David. He's just getting older. They lost another really good outside linebacker that they had a couple years ago. But like, that Washington team is the dead last ranked O-line. This is the first ranked O-line. Gibbs' talent level compared to Brian Robinson and Eckler, I mean, he could go off in the passing game. And then we only want 8 to 10, 11 carries anyways. I mean, that's fine. He's super efficient. That's just doesn't he remind you of like an Achane play? Like,
Yeah, I was just going to say that. It's like the same thing almost.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Colts money line seems like free today. Yeah, I would say they were, just because Malik Willis is terrible, but there is like a huge trend. This is like a 10 to 15 year long trend of, like underdogs in week 2, short spreads coming off losses in week 1. Like, it's really, really tricky with how the NFL goes, teams week to week. It's just so hard to predict. So I did not bet on the Colts, but I mean, if you were just asking me, I would assume they should win the game because Malik Willis is terrible. But all right, let me see some of these questions here. PPR season long, DK, Aaron Jones, or J.K. Dobbins?
What were the 3?
DK, Aaron Jones, or J.K. Dobbins?
Oh, man.
I would put Jones third among those.
I do Dobbins.
Yeah, that's probably what I would do too. I mean, it's just such a good spot. I mean,
it's crazy. That's the last person that guy drafted, obviously, out of those 3. But it's like,
late. It's crazy how after 1 week, you're starting him over those guys. But look, I mean, we haven't talked about him yet. But again, I think on a more normal week, J.K. Dobbins would be pretty high owned coming off that week 1 game. He looked good, looked like the lead back. Now they're playing very, very soft run defense in Carolina. They're favored in the game. And I mean, Carolina had nothing to begin with, obviously lost one of their only good guys on the defensive line there. But
Derek Brown, Pro Bowler Derek Brown.
Yeah. And this is a team we knew coming into the season, Jim Harbaugh wants to run the ball. And it was clear that J.K. Dobbins is ahead, at least for now, of Gus Edwards. So I think on a more normal week, he'd be chalk, but there's just so many, we have this Jordan Mason situation and some of the other guys. So I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's not as high owned as I thought he was going to be on like Tuesday.
Yeah. Leroy the Great, season long, Ford, Mason, Gibbs pick 2. It's not close. Definitely Gibbs and Mason.
Agree. Yes. Yeah. I'm in like one league. and it's like a standard league, non-PPR. I don't even know why I play in this league anymore, but it's been like a league for like 15 years. And I started Mason over Achan, which is just not anything I would ever do, but like I had to. And then of course, Achan just nukes. But yeah, Andy was talking about AJ Brown. I know that's not on the main slate, but yeah, it sounds like he is like in actual jeopardy of missing that game. So if you don't have a competent player from that game on your bench, I would probably not start him, as scary as that is. I don't think this is a Achan situation. Like, I thought it was pretty clear all week Achan was going to play and he was going to be fine. Like a hammy late in the week, I don't really like messing with that. All right. DraftKings cash already have Mason, Debo, Samuel, and Jags D, or James Conner and Chargers D. I would take the first one for sure for cash games.
Jags are down. They're top 2 corners.
Yeah, that was I really don't bet on the Browns ever. That was like my big bet of the week was them plus 3.5. It did move to 3. Or no, did I take him at 3? I think it moved to 2.5 maybe the last time I saw him, but regardless. Yeah, I don't know. I have concerns about this Jags team right now.
Question says Olave or Godwin today. I would go Godwin. I don't know about you. I think that's pretty clear. I mean, they got Liam Cohen coming over from the Rams. Talk off seasons has been that, Godwin's going to play the Cooper Kupp role, but like, hey, he had the most targets on the team last week. He had caught all 8 of his targets. Lions, not that they're easy across the middle. They're going to have to deal with Brian Branch and company, but I think that for sure I'm playing Godwin over Olave today.
Yeah, 100%. And Godwin's someone that I think you and I both were really high on just coming into the season.
Yeah.
And yeah, the role looked exactly like we wanted to. I know Mike Evans scored 2 touchdowns last week, but yeah, really, really high on Godwin just for the entire season. 3 Rams in cash, I think is fine, Bo. No problems with it. Brees Tyler Johnson versus Rashee Rice, DeMarcus Robinson in cash. I think this is probably going to be like a popular 2v2.
Are you playing Brees in cash?
I am, but I'm playing Rice too. Like I like, especially because I have Mahomes. Like I'm playing Rashee Rice. So
okay.
I don't know. I don't like Brees. I only have Brees in cash. I have none of him on any of my other teams. So
I'm a crazy person. You know the way I play cash. I just don't care.
You just
I just get unique. I don't care.
That's
I
fine.
play like legit GPP lineups in cash or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see. AC with the classic Watson Cooper stacks. I mean, this
got to do it. AC have to do it.
Man. Jeez.
AC, did you bet the Browns today in the chat? Let me know. I need to know.
Bo B, Matt, can we get a quick 3-0 Sparty take? The take is that we're the greatest team in the country. We're undefeated. We're number 1, and that's it. I mean, we're number 1. It's lonely at the top.
Hey, shout out! I was actually kind of high on them coming into the season, Michigan State, as comparison to last year. So yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
Anything specific for FanDuel cash, Kevin? I don't think so. I think you play Mason like you do on DraftKings. I think you play Colby Parkinson. Typically not a, FanDuel, I normally don't play cheap tight end on FanDuel, but Parkinson, to Matt's credit in our text earlier, he ran a ton of routes in week 1. And like, this is an offense that it's just a different situation than like a normal punt tight end, I think. So I would be fine playing Parkinson.
Yeah.
On FanDuel in cash. I have a 2-unit bet on Browns at 3.5 as well. All right, let's go.
That's it.
Rice or Kyron? Yeah, that's the big one, Matt. I think for cash games.
I know.
I think it's Rice.
Oh wow, I was gonna say for cash. I think
it's Rice, dude. I just like. I mean, it's splitting hairs 100%, but
yeah.
I don't know, man. I guess it could be confirmation bias. Like, obviously, Kyron Williams has a great role. Like, we know that. But man, like, I was so high on Rice coming into the season, and then just to like see the role he was in, like, it was everything that I wanted. And man, I don't know if that game does. Like, I think he's safe if the game is lower scoring because he's going to get volume. But if that game gets cooking, like.
Yeah, and it should be mentioned, the Rams literally have 1 out of 5 starters on their offensive line. They have 2nd and 3rd stringers playing today. So, like, gosh. Rice is a pretty safe floor, too.
Yeah, like I feel like they're honestly like they're pretty close. I don't know. It's Rice for me, but I mean, I don't know. I guess Kyron might be high round. I have no idea.
Plus, just in general, I'm assuming that person's going to have Cup in their lineup, and we know that obviously Cup versus Kyron is negatively correlated, right? So, like, just back to basics, like if it's close, then yeah, I mean, I actually would say Rice, assuming, of course, he has Cup already.
Yeah. Derrick Henry, good tournament play, Ron. I didn't include him in my article. I kind of thought about it, but I did play him. I played him on my early slate team. I don't have any of him on the main slate, except for actually on my FanDuel team. I might have him on one, but yeah, I think he's a good play. Do you have any Henry today, Matt?
I don't. I mean, we saw what Dobbins did to this, this defense last week in the Raiders, and I think game script's there. Of course, all the splits are there when in winning games versus losing games. Henry just crushes in winning games, but like, this O-line is bad. It's a bottom 6, bottom 7 unit. Maybe worse, depending on where you're looking. And I just think that he doesn't have, I mean, okay, he has explosive upside, but he's not going to catch many balls. Yeah. I don't know, man.
You have to get 2 touchdowns, basically.
You do. And like, gosh, look at the floor that Gibbs has, knowing he's going to catch, 3 to 7 balls. Look at Pacheco for a little bit more.
Even Pacheco's going to catch a couple.
Connor will catch a couple, in a good matchup. I just like everyone around Henry more.
Yeah.
He's not a bad play.
No, he's not. But like I said, I mean, I would have Pacheco over him for sure. That's like my highest.
Yeah, I would too. I don't have enough Pacheco. It's making me paranoid.
Top 3 survivor picks. I'm using Houston. So I used Seattle last week. I'm using Houston this week. If you don't want to use Houston,
Chargers.
You could use the Chargers. Yeah, I would want to say Baltimore because they have some pretty good looking games.
You just may never have as much. I mean, this is the worst opponent Chargers are going to play all year, right?
Yes.
And it's not close. And they just lost their only good defensive player. I just think that this is when you use the Chargers, personally.
Yeah. Someone asked touchdown picks. I put a touchdown parlay on my Twitter. You can go find it over there. If you just ask me just picks, I would say CD is like 1,000% scoring a touchdown today.
Love that.
For sure. AC, I feel like my favorite lineup is just a complete game stack of Bucks, Lions, and just whatever happens with the Rams fade happens. Yeah, I don't think that's bad at all. It's probably what I'm going to do on my team I'm about to make, to be honest with you.
There's so many pieces. I am high on Jalen McMillan. This is a guy who's was loved by Baker and the entire staff all offseason, all camp, making plays left and right. He had a long touchdown last week. He almost had 2 other touchdowns last week. And I think, we have the classic, teammate matchup between Evans and, God, I can't think of his name on the Lions. Carlton Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Not that like Carlton Davis is going to shut down Mike Evans or whatever, but like, Godwin's obvious, but dude, at like 3,600 for McMillan, I just think that's in that game environment, it's awesome. They're going to have to pass, right? In general, if you're taking stabs at receivers, you want them to have a passing game script, right? It's like, I don't know, I think Jalen McMillan at 3,600 is a way better play than Yoshi at 38, but that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, Jalen McMillan is good at football as well. Like if you watched any Washington the past few years, like very good. Tristan, I would not play Lazard in tournaments. I don't think he seems like he's going to be popular. So I think he's a fine in cash, I guess, if you want to use him. But I don't know. Tournaments, I wouldn't play him if he's going to be owned. I don't love that game, honestly. I don't love the Jets offense, honestly.
Yeah, same.
Right now, I don't love that game. I don't love the fact that, he caught a touchdown on a free play that was like an offsides on the defense and then caught another one on like the last drive of the game from Tyrod Taylor. So I don't know. Game log is a little noisy, I feel like.
Mike Williams is going to mix in more this week too. There,
yeah, Mike Williams will play more too. That's a good point. Yes. Yeah. Burrow or Mayfield? If you're talking season long,
gosh,
I think probably Baker. I guess I don't know.
You probably play Baker. Yeah,
I think you play Baker if that's a season long question. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
What do you make of that? Like, let's just talk about that for a second. The Bengals. Like, do you think that this is just them starting slow like they always do? Do you think that, what is the risk going to like affect him? I don't know. Like, what's your thoughts on the whole situation?
I thought he was pretty genuine when he reacted to the wrist stuff in his press conference. He was like, "What?" He goes, "What I do with a water bottle?" He's like, "What?" He was just like laughing. And then there's also reports that he was told by his physio to like do this motion thing with his wrist or whatever. Like, anyways, I just think that Zach Taylor's an actual terrible coach. And I mean, look at all the metrics. It's the talent he has on the field versus the output is brutal. Going into Arrowhead, obviously that it's a big rivalry the last few years. Yeah. Well, yeah, but dude,
you remember that? Dude, I have legitimate beef with Bengals fans. So
yeah,
like
it's dumb.
Them calling it Burrowhead because they beat them 2 times
and now they're chirping at Xavier. It's like, dude, you're chirping at the fastest man in league potentially, like with Patrick Mahomes. Like, why would you do that? I don't know. Yes, Burrow's gonna have to be passing a lot today, but like that's a nasty pass defense in KC, man. Like, I think this version of the Bengals, especially with no T Higgins, like this is not when you're supposed to be high on them at all.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, look, I'm not saying anything bad about Joe Burrow. I think he's a really good quarterback, but we've never seen Joe Burrow without an insane supporting cast. Like, he had the greatest college football team around him of all time when he played at LSU.
Yeah.
And then he comes to the league, immediately has Jamar Chase, has T. Higgins.
Yeah.
You know, it was just a different situation a few years ago, I feel like. And then on top of it, compounding, like, this is the worst version of the Bengals defense that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had a very good defense 3 years ago, and it's just not the case right now. Like, their defense is not good. So,
I mean, plus like having good, scheme and coaching is huge.
Yeah.
And they don't have it there.
Yeah.
I do think he's talented at throwing the ball and making reads. I mean, just in general,
yes,
obviously, right?
Yeah.
And he is way up there at throwing the ball and what, but like scheme is so important. I mean, Colt McCoy was just on a podcast this week and they asked him, he's like, how, when they're breaking down Darnold in this cool YouTube video, and he's like, Darnold, by the way, was awesome week 1, but he's like, how important is scheme and coaching? He goes, oh, it's like everything. Because his whole point was like, look, all these NFL quarterbacks, they're great at throwing the football and making reads, obviously, right? I mean, that's obviously they're the 32 best in the world at doing that. And he goes, it's everything. It's scheme versus scheme, and I just, Burrow doesn't have it. Unfortunately, Zach Taylor's a total fake sharp. It's brutal.
Mahomes, Tyler Johnson versus Jaden Daniels, DeMarcus Robinson. I would take that first one.
Yeah, I'm not on Jaden Daniels this week. I know he's chalky. I'm not on him. I'm playing Giants D in my main line too.
I like Giants D a little bit too. Top props. I like Pacheco like over rushing yards. So he went for over 100 against them last year.
Yeah.
Really, really bad run defense here. Coming into the season, they got completely exposed against the Patriots. And I mean, I think you're pretty safe with 16 to 18 carries here from Pacheco. Could upside for a little bit more if they're winning the game in the second half. So I don't know. I think when I checked, his prop was like in the 60s. So really, really like that over.
That's crazy. That's super low.
Yeah. We agree, Ryan. We both like Shaheed for tournaments. Godwin or Connor for FanDuel cash.
Ooh. I might say Connor.
I might say Connor, but with the man.
It's FanDuel though, man.
I know. I like them adding that like 100-yard bonus though.
Yeah, that is big.
But I mean, Connor, I guess, could just get it running too. So. I don't know. That's tough. I think I have Godwin on my team, Matt, if that answers your question. But Matt, so okay, I was gonna ask you on the early slate. I just went really. I didn't play him on the main slate. Went super heavy. Daniel Jones. What do you have any Daniel Jones? What's your thoughts there?
He's in one of my 4 lineups right now.
Okay, I actually I don't know why. Like I've had this feeling. I said something on like Monday or Tuesday about it in our text, but I don't know. I have.
Well, we've been talking since off season. Like everyone is like way overreacting, right? I mean, in general, I know it's looked terrible. Yes, that's undeniable. But like, this is the worst defense in the NFL, right? The Washington, and they lost pieces from last week. Like, it's the worst. So like, I don't know, man. If it doesn't happen here, we'll just bury him, right?
Yeah, I mean, if Daniel Jones doesn't have a good game today, I would not be shocked if they just play Drew Lock next week. Like, as crazy as that sounds, he signed a $160 million deal or whatever. But I mean, the time is like coming to an end. But this is the best possible. I don't know how an NFL quarterback right now, even with a bad scheme, whatever, how could they not have success against this defense right now? I don't know.
It's crazy bad.
It's really, really bad.
Yeah.
And you have a guy, Neighbors can just take over. Like someone just asked about Neighbors. This is the spot for Neighbors. And I'm happy he didn't score last week because he would have been higher owned if he had a better score in his game log. Like I think he's going to go off today.
For sure.
Besides Browns, what upsets do you like? Let me see. I mean, I think the Giants can win against the Commanders, most definitely. So there's one.
Mm-hmm. Vikings.
Yeah, Vikings for sure. I would say Giants, Vikings are both live. I think Tennessee is live, to be honest, at home. I know they choked, epically against the Bears last week, but I mean, I would not be shocked if they won. So that's probably my three. What do you think about Pittsburgh, Denver? Like, I'm not really playing anything. I liked Fields early in the week, just didn't end up getting to him in anything.
Yeah,
I don't know what's your take on that game.
It's a total stay away. I was considering, like one of the defenses or whatever, but there's a lot of pace problems with that game, and I'm not on it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just like I have that feeling. It's like if Justin Fields keeps starting, I know he's going to have a 100-yard and rushing game and a touchdown. And
but early in the season at Mile High,
yeah, I know it's.
So. They have unreal historical covering the spread data on September games at home in Mile High Stadium. Like it's a real thing.
CJ, I'd take Kyron over Pacheco for cash games. Debo versus Kyron Williams in flex. I would take Debo over Kyron Williams in cash games as well.
Yep, me too. Especially if you're playing Cup, like we talked about earlier.
How are you playing Jones? Like just with Neighbors?
Yep, just Neighbors. I one of them I toyed with just punting and having Theo Johnson as well.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did on early.
I think I did actually. Yeah, I do have Theo Johnson in that one. Yeah, so
okay, nice. Yeah,
it's the worst position.
You don't have a run back at all?
I do not. Nope. I thought about even playing Giants defense with that, but
I don't hate that move, honestly. Yeah. I just don't know. Like Terry's role, I don't want to overreact to 1 week, but Terry McLaurin's role was so bad in week one. Like just lining him up on one side of the field and letting him run straight down the field. It's just so stupid.
This is the 5th ranked defensive line versus the 32nd ranked offensive line. Jay's going to have pressure. Sure, he can scramble. Yes, I get it. But Kingsbury did not set him up for success at all last week. And
how does this guy keep getting jobs? This Cliff Kingsbury, like,
didn't he had like a year off or whatever, right? And then he's back.
Yeah, he was like out in Thailand with at a massage parlor. I think I saw something about it. But
must be nice.
Yeah. Well, dude, this guy just gets millions of dollars. Oh, my God, let me get me.
CJ says Giants D over Pats or Broncos. I mean, I debated definitely not Pats, but I debated Broncos or Giants a lot this week.
Yeah,
and I'm just making the stand. I'm going with Giants D. It's close though. It's close.
Okay. If you guys have more questions, drop them in. I think overall for me though, I'm feeling much better about the slate now than I was even last night.
Yeah.
You have any bets, Matt? I know sometimes you like to make kind of those like watered down.
Yeah.
You got anything?
I hit my last one hit like in the first half of Thursday Night Football, but I'm just parlaying money lines today with just Lions and Chargers.
Okay,
I feel very good about it. I think it pays like minus 120.
Mm-hmm.
It's not terrible. I just think those two teams absolutely get the win. In these spots. I think the market's not pricing in enough of these injuries defensively on Tampa. They're not a deep team, and if you lose a Pro Bowler in Antoine Winfield, that's a big deal in a shootout environment. He is the back end of that defense. And again, they're starting lefty end as well. I think the Lions. Now it could be a close back and forth game, but I think the Lions just end up pulling away and winning by 10 points. 34-24 type of deal.
Yeah, I did. I had Lions Eagles as mine, and now of course AJ Brown may not play, so that kind of sucks. But I mean, I still feel like Philly at home. Man, Kirk our boy Kirk looked bad last week, Matt. I mean, he just can't move around right now. Unfortunately. So
it's tough.
I don't know. I still like it, but
I should mention, I mean, he's going to be in my main lineup. So, obviously I've won a lot of money with Justin Jefferson over the years, and I love him as a player. But if you're telling me the best receiver in the NFL is going to be very low owned at home, which we know those home road splits, with an awesome offensive coordinator, so far so good on Darnold. He was a top 3 graded quarterback last week, in a spot where he's facing the number 1 pass funnel in the NFL. And yeah, they have some talent there, but it's like now there's no Addison. I just think it's you can't hold down Justin Jefferson for long at home.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, if he was going to be, 18% owned, then whatever. I think straight up, I think,
it's
I probably liked CD, right? But I like, dude, Jetta's in this situation, and I can do my Purdy idea with Purdy, Mason, and Debo. I don't know. It got me excited.
No, I love it. Love it. I'm gonna try and get him on the team because I don't have him right now. So I think that's smart. There's very few players that I feel like you can just have instant regret, on like it'll be like 140. And you're just like, why didn't I play this guy? There's very few players. Jefferson, Tyreek, are like the 2 that come to mind because there's times where, it's like 115 and red zone just instantly cuts to Miami and Tyreek has scored an 80-yard touchdown. And you're just like, yeah, I'm dead. But
plus, like, this offense is so good. They'll make you pay. Like when they doubled Jettas a couple times last week, like there was an awesome seam route right up the middle to like whatever Johnny Mundt for like 25 yards. Like that's how good Kevin O'Connell is, and Darnold, like, so far so good, and all camp, it's been good. It's been wheels up. So, I'm not afraid to play Jettas at like what? Well, they project like 6% ownership or something silly. Like,
crazy. And he really could have went nuclear last week. He just got unlucky that the game was out of hand pretty quickly.
Very quickly. Yeah, very, very quickly. Yep.
Because he had what did he have? 15, 16, even with that?
Yeah, he had 16. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if that game was close, I mean, he probably would have had like 32. And
plus 90% of his touchdowns historically come indoors. Like,
yes, we know.
It's a thing.
There was nothing. That was one of the greatest weeks of all time, Matt.
Yeah.
That was big time. Lions, the Frosty Thompson.
I know. I love that. Yeah, for sure. Dude, Frosty's so like, I love Frosty. He just he likes playing his Chargers, and he says Amon-Ra legacy. Yeah, he likes Amon-Ra because Amon-Ra went to USC. I guarantee you. That's why.
Oh, yeah, that is why. Also, hey, shout out to Frosty. Frosty was texting me last night. Frosty hit a Prize Picks entry last night for, let me see this here. I'm going to pull it up. $25 to $13K or to 1.3K for Frosty. Yeah, MLB.
He's goated.
MLB 6-pick 20 to win 1,300, and he smacked it.
Were there Padres plays in there?
Oh, there was. I think I think it was Tatis.
He's the best.
It was Tatis and Machado were both on this team.
Dude, Frosty's goated.
So great. All right. Overall, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, really good viewership. If you have any further questions, I'll be in the Discord. So hit me in there. Core plays will be posted on the website, dfskarma.com/pricing, if you want access to that. Matt, good luck this week. I mean, we'll be talking. Obviously, I'll be back with a video this week, and then, we're just kind of getting into the swing of things now because we'll just be heading into week 3. But good luck, everyone, and I'll see you guys next week.